Leading into the game at Indiana, all the talk was about Ohio State's black uniforms in 2 weeks against Penn State. It's the Hoosiers who nearly gave the Buckeyes a black eye. Welcome inside Buckeye Insider alongside Mike Miller. I'm Mark Kuntz. As Ohio State, Mike, once again walked the precipice of disaster, managed to come out with a 7-point victory.
Well, you're
on a very weird day in the Big Ten, Ohio State's script went pretty much as planned, except an understudy took the starring role. Welcome to Buckeye Insider alongside Mike Miller. I'm Mark Kuntz. As Ohio State's Urban Meyer all week long said we'll see how it goes with the two-quarterback approach. The J.T. Barrett as the red zone quarterback, and Mike Miller today, particularly in the second half, J.T. Barrett wasn't just the red zone quarterback. It is the week of the game, but before Ohio State can really take on Michigan, first they need to put Michigan State in the rear view mirror. Welcome inside Buckeye Insider alongside Mike Miller. I'm Mark Kuntz. As Ohio State coming off their first loss since the beginning of the 2014 season, week 2 of 2014, as they lost to Michigan State 17-14 last Saturday. And Mike, we talked about it last Sunday on Buckeye Insider, and it's still the big topic of the day. Ezekiel Elliott's comments following the game when she said he felt he deserved more than the 12 carries, more than just 2 carries in the second half. You, at that time, said you didn't think it was a big deal. Do you still not think it was a big deal? Ohio State traveled to Ann Arbor with first-year head coach Jim Harbaugh, and unlike Lloyd Carr, unlike Bo Schembechler, unlike Brady Hoke, Jim Harbaugh lost his first meeting with Ohio State as the Buckeyes picked up the victory. Welcome to Buckeye Insider. Alongside Mike Miller, I'm Mark Kuntz. And Mike, certainly what a difference 7 days makes when it comes to this Ohio State team.
Well, big difference for the Ohio State Buckeyes. It seemed like the Buckeyes were just much more intent to be successful today. A week ago against the Spartans, it was as if Ohio State was waiting for somebody to make a play, and then the bad weather elements gave the Buckeyes an excuse really ultimately for nobody to make a play. Quite the difference today on both sides of the football.
Well, and I give you credit. You mentioned last week that sometimes winning covers up warts, and you need a loss to expose some things. Ezekiel Elliott had a rough week off the field. Didn't have a rough week on the field in Ann Arbor.
No, tremendous performance for Ezekiel Elliott. What did he do? He does what Ezekiel Elliott does well. He runs hard, he blocks relentlessly, and he tries to shake off tackles, and he just simply came out and played purposeful like he has throughout his career, and the offensive line certainly gave him more of an opportunity to be successful today against the Wolverines, unlike the week previous. But I don't think Ezekiel Elliott did a whole lot different than what so many of us have become used to seeing him do.
As Ohio State picked up the victory, let's take a look back at the highlights. Ezekiel Elliott ready to put last week's outburst behind him. Lyman native and former Michigan head coach and Ohio State captain Gary Moeller in attendance. After 2 Michigan punts sandwiched around an OSU punt, Buckeyes offense takes over. Things sparked a roughing the kicker call on Michigan. Zeke breaks through the line. Jared Wilson able to drag him down, but a 66-yard gain to the Michigan 10. 2 plays later, J.T. Barrett will keep it, dives into the end zone, and unlike the last 2 weeks, no need to review. It's a touchdown and a 7-0 lead. Touchdown. Jake Ruddock brings the home team back. Quarterback transfer from Iowa over the summer finds Jehu Chesson for 20 on 3rd and 9. Later in the drive, Ruddock with time hits his big tight end Jake Butt. The Ohio native 22-yard pickup leads to a Michigan field goal. Ohio State asserting their dominance on the ground. 3rd and 2, Barrett keeps it. 1st down and more. A 16-yard pickup to the Wolverine 20. A couple of plays later, Zeke high-stepping his way into the end zone. OSU up 11 with just over 5 minutes to go in the half. That would be enough time for Michigan to respond. At the Ohio State 37, Ruddock dumps to Devian Smith underneath. Has some room to run, finally brought down at the 13. 2 plays later, Ruddock to Chesson, touchdown Michigan. Ruddock 19 of 32 for 263 yards. OSU ball to start the second half. They stay on the ground. Zeke already over 100 on the game, adding to it 21 more yards on this carry. Wolverines unable to stop the Buckeye ground game. Elliott up the middle and then bounces outside for 15 more down at the 37. Ohio State not completely ignoring the passing attack. Barrett with time. Somehow Jalen Marshall, despite being well covered, makes the catch for the score. 21-10, Ohio State setting the tone. Buckeye defense starting to make an impact. Joey Bosa gets in the backfield, sacks his former high school teammate, ball loose, recovered by Michigan. They would punt. OSU chewing up ground and clock. 3rd and 3, Barrett on the option. Pitches to Curtis Samuel, sophomore with the first down and more. Later in the drive, near midfield, 3rd and 3, Barrett with the conventional pass to Samuel. Dozen yards to the 37. That helps set up Barrett's second touchdown run, a 13-yarder. Buckeyes expanding the lead to 28-10 on the 16-play, 84-yard drive, taking up over 7 minutes of game time. Wolverines not giving up. Ruddock back to Chesson, senior, 8 grabs for 111 yards, leads to a Michigan field goal. With the ground game dominating, OSU keeping Michigan off balance through the air. Barrett, 38-yard strike to Michael Thomas. JT, 9 of 15 in the air for 113 yards. Wolverines defense simply befuddled, and the Buckeyes no let-up. Zeke back in the end zone. Elliott, 214 yards on 30 carries. It's 35-13 early in the 4th. Any chance Michigan had to make it at least interesting ends as Bosa once again sacks Ruddock, goes down hard on his shoulder. He would not return. OSU salting this one away. Buckeyes outgained Michigan 369 to 57 yards on the ground, 11 more for Elliott, and Barrett caps the scoring with a 17-yard run. Barrett 19 carries for 139 yards rushing, 42-13 OSU in front. The band's banana says it all. Buckeyes weren't quite done yet. Most likely his final regular season game for Ohio State. Joey Bosa tips the pass, corrals it, his first ever career interception for Ohio State, as the Buckeyes win 42-13. Urban Meyer now a ridiculous 15-6 in his head coaching career against opponents in the top 10. 4 in a row over Michigan, 11 of their last 12. So, Mike, I think a lot of people are probably wondering to themselves what took Ohio State so long to get the offense back in gear. We saw the offense work at high capacity against Rutgers, but as we've talked about before, kind of that week off and the JT Barrett suspension, they were never quite able to pick up the momentum after that Rutgers victory, and what it took this week was a change in Ed Warner's physical coaching position.
Yeah, and that's an interesting development.